You're on.
G'day, this is my 1961 Cadillac. It was a one owner before I got it. It was owned by the same guy for 50 years. At the moment, so the Cadillac, when I got it, it was 40 something years old, and the guy had never done anything to it. He took it whenever to the garage. He's got all of his records that he was there. He used to stand by the mechanic and watch them do the work, but he never changed anything or did anything to it. When I got it, I wanted to use it. I use it as a daily driver. I drive to work 4 days a week. I'm in the office 4 days a week. I drive to work 4 days a week, which is about 10 kilometres away. So I use it as my daily driver during the week, and on Sundays the kids love it. So at the moment, one of the first things I did on it was put air suspension on it. And the reason why I did it is, one is we work on a dirt road. We live on a dirt road, and it was too low for speed humps in Australia. Every so often, and the roads in Byron Bay are terrible. So at the moment, you can actually, there's 4 levels that the car can go on. That's on level 3, and I put it up because I just hosed it down, and so I lifted it up. So that's sort of like the highest level that it's on, and you can see it is very high. It doesn't usually sit like that. What I will do is put it down to its normal driving height. So when you turn it on, pillarless windows. One of the things I made sure is that everything just works on it. So so when you turn it on, turn that off. But when you turn it on, it instantly goes to number 2, which is the driving height. You can actually put it onto whatever you want, but that is the normal standard driving height, and it's actually a beautiful sort of looking car. It certainly gets all the looks when I'm in town. Now, so what I've done to it is I've put the suspension onto it. I also changed the front brakes to disc brakes, and one of the reasons why you do that is it's just safety. The car just stops, it stops beautifully, and it's not an issue, and my wife can drive it, and it's not an issue. Drum brakes in the front for such a heavy car is a bit of an issue. I didn't touch the outside, except I did fix a few things. So anything that needed replacing, I remember one of these needed replacing, I got that. I think one of these needed replacing, but you can just ring up in America, in the US, and get everything. And then I just redid the whole interior back to the original colour. You can sort of see a little bit of the original colour here. I'm going to take, and then from here you can actually see that, the sun's not very good on this side, I'll do it from the other side, but I did the whole interior back to original. So that's all original. Well, the light is in there, but I use it for my phone. I got the clock fixed. That was an old clock maker, 3 generations of clock making. He knew exactly what to do with it. He resurfaced it. He said it'll go for another 50 years. All the doors, all the interior is all back to original. But I did put a stereo in there as well. All the air conditioning, all the heating, I'll show you from the other side, it'll probably look better. I did put a stereo in there because I love music. and I love listening to loud music whenever I want. There's speakers in the door, there's speakers in the front, there's 4 speakers in the back, and in the boot there is there's the original stickers on the back of the window from the old guy. His name was Jack. And in the boot I've got a couple of subwoofers and the air suspension. So that's the air suspension. I've got the battery charger in there, so if I go away for business for a couple of weeks, I put a trickle charger in there. The clock runs and the anti-rust runs. So when I got it, it had a bit of rust. As you can see, here's a perfect example of probably the most amount of rust that's in there. And when I got it, there was this amount of rust. It actually looks a bit worse than it is, because it's not anywhere through. It's solid as a rock, but because it's wet, it looks not so good. It's got the petrol tank in there, and it is relatively economical. So yeah, it is relatively economical. If we're looking under the bonnet, I've got the headlights that are in there. Those high beams are serious. They're aeroplane high beams, and at night they just light up the world. In the engine, I've had the engine fully rebuilt by a racing car engine builder. Who knew the engine really well. I like to keep the engine a little bit clean where I can get my hands to it, but most of it I can't. You've got all the stereo stuff. You've got the Coupler Tech anti-rust. So it's got the air conditioning. That's the air conditioning, the heating, power brakes. I had the transmission rebuilt, the diff rebuilt, and the engine rebuilt, as I said. The radiator rebuilt. So basically you turn the car on and it goes full stop, which was my plan. You know, I want something that works. So you can sort of get a bit better of an idea now that there's a cloud over the sun of the interior. And the interior on the dashboard is all original, apart from the stereo. The switch next to the stereo is the aerial going up and down, which works. And of course you've got the boot, which in the back of behind that air compressor are a couple of amplifiers, so they run all the stereo. Yeah, I just put new seals around the boot and around the doors, keep all the water out. Recarpeted, obviously, and that's it. It runs like a dream. It does actually sit on the ground a lot more, which I will show you. If you just come from here, I will bring it. I'll turn it on and I'll bring it down. Oh, I'll be a second. I do have to run. So